The first project I did with Jean-Marc was a film called Dallas Buyers Club. I had lived in New York during the AIDS epidemic, and I had many friends who passed from it. And when I heard that a film was being made, I bum rushed him and said, I have to do this movie. And I think he was taken with my passion. I had never worked with him before, and that was the first film I did with him.
I didn't expect you. The house is not up to par for visitors, I'm afraid.
The biggest challenge was finding the Kremlin Mansion, a beautiful, big Victorian with a large estate around it. And there are lots of Victorians in California. They used to be on big properties, and over time, since that period, houses have been built on the property, so none of them are on big estates anymore. So we hope to find that. I never thought that we actually would, but we looked and looked and looked. Our location manager found one on a beautiful piece of property in Redding, California, which was the right kind of exterior, but obviously the inside was not shootable. So we used that as our model for our exterior of our stage set, and we made up our own interior. It is Adora's world. It is her hermetically sealed glass menagerie, so to speak. You know, in the tradition of a Southern Gothic, I didn't want it to be dark and spooky with cobwebs and filled with antiques. What it is a very wealthy woman. She's probably, gone to Charleston or Atlanta and hired a very posh interior designer to make a flamboyant and expressive interior with vivid, poisonous colors, which was part of getting into her character. What does she do? What has she been doing with her life? One of the first things I came across when I was just doing research was this amazing photograph of Helena de Rothschild in her boudoir with this incredible, swampy, gorgeous de Gournay silk wallpaper. And I use that as the colors, and our decorator used that as part of their chinoiserie and some antiques from her, ancestors. Adora is a countess, she's the matriarch of the town. And so there's a great keystone visual thing to base the mansion on. I've worked with Jean-Marc many years. Having worked with him, I've kind of picked up on what is important to him. With me, always, it's all about atmosphere, and with him, it's about atmosphere, and it's about the mood. He's very character-oriented as well. And he has a voyeuristic kind of outlook on things, which is really interesting. He's always looking through portals and windows, and that really makes for great visual opportunities for the designer, for costumes, the DP. He never moves walls on a stage set. He will use what you come up with, but the process of getting there and making sure he has the blocking and the angles and the depth of field is just something we work out when we make models and show him the designs of the sets. And even in the locations, we're thinking the same way. We may add a window here. We may, add a portal. And he also likes to let the actors roam on the sets and in the locations. So we always like to make a 360 world for him. And lighting, Jean-Marc doesn't use movie lights. The art department adds a lot of practical lighting into the locations that actually sets the tone, and we work a lot with the DPEs to do that. We talk to the DP, and we always want to, make it look naturalistic. And it is actually invigorating to work with a DP so closely, because usually we're just going to park some lights, but it's really great to be able to integrate that into a set. The interesting thing about the dollhouse is that the house had to be designed before the dollhouse. We had the plans for the house, and we could just use those to make the dollhouse. The dollhouse, I knew it would be hard. I knew it would be, a focal point of a lot of things, and I knew it would take a lot of time. It was amazing how that became a world into itself. We actually asked some dollhouse makers, how long would it take to make this? And they said, a year. It was a race against time. We made models of different sizes of the dollhouse in different scales. The scale that we wanted to use that would work best for the characters, not too big, not too small, was of course the one where nothing was available. You couldn't buy a window, you couldn't buy any, just generic furniture. So we did end up making everything from scratch. Our prop master did an incredible job. She had people working constantly. And she also had to deal with the fact that we're figuring out the set too. So Amy Wells, our decorator, might bring in a couple of couches and say, I thought that couch would work, but it doesn't work. And then the model makers are like, oh, geez, okay, now we got a new couch to make. I had never done something so complicated. It was an eye-opener.
Emma. Mama. This is Nathan. He just wanted to see the dollhouse.
I'm really happy when people feel like they can just walk in and it feels right for them. The actors have to feel like, you know, this is my house, this is my office. That's, you know, high praise when someone comes up and says, this is really working for me.